Hello everyone, Strangers123 here today with a low quality rushed fucking replay cast. Feeling a little bit lazy, so as usual, nothing too fancy, but as I'm sure you can see on the loading screen with the names, this is any server replay as I've basically just begun the grind on an A4 higher tier aircraft carriers on a personal account, and not the press account I have. But anyways, we spawn on the southern side of the map, which means that the aircraft carriers on this side have a bit of a disadvantage, because they have, I guess you can say, a harder way to reach a good safe position with the ship itself. This is, well, it's a tier 5 game, of course, because I bring a Texas in my division. The reason behind that is because tier 4 carriers don't tend to play in the division, so that means we're basically guaranteeing ourselves top tier matchmaking for the Texas. And for my own sake, I don't really care if I'm in a tier 4 or 5 game with a Houshou. Anti-aircraft overall isn't that strong, or it's way too strong. So, well, I'll just spot it right here. It's 120 something thousand damage game, and I'm not using premium consumables because I'm being a bit of a cheap bitch, but put it this way, you don't really need it on a tier 4 aircraft carrier at all, in fact, so if you're not, well, unless of course you're playing pretty poorly, or the enemies really want to sit on your dick. But if the enemies really want to sit on your dick, you're probably going to die anyways, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Anyways, because I'm in a Texas division, I'm opting to play a lot more aggressive with my fighters, because I know that if I do end up getting screwed, I can always avoid the enemy's fighter squadron. You know, it's only one, it's not a double CV game this time. But the primary focus of this is not to talk about me playing a fucking Houshou or anything like that. The primary point of this replay today is to talk about the changes that happened to tier 4 and 5 aircraft carriers, as I open up with a bit of a dodgy strike on the Furitaka, only managing to get one, and then this at the end of it, but since he slowed down, this is perfectly fine, and the enemy aircraft carrier seems, I realized he just auto-clicked on my fighter ages ago, so I'm just going to drag it into the Texas range, flick it around, and latch him to make sure he doesn't get out of range, and of course, as RNG would have it, he instantly kills one of mine, which is a little bit annoying, but it's not that major of a deal, because his fighter squadron is just going to die, and I mean, of course, the fewer planes he kills now, the more I have to strafe away his torpedo bombers with. And this is just the retardedness of how low-tier aircraft carriers and some low-tier ships work. Now, of course, that was a little bit of a late fail strafe, but I was hoping that I'd be able to clip the dive bomber in the head-on as well, and I definitely do, picking up 3 kills from that as well. So that's off to a good start with the enemy's planes, and as you can see, tier 3 dive bombers. So this guy's not having the world's best day, and I just wiped a bunch of his torpedo bombers on the way home. Not exactly sure about that strafing. I'm not sure if this guy has evasive maneuvers or not, because those planes seem fucking slow. But whatever, I pick up all his torpedo bombers, and this guy's even stock hull, so the poor guy only has 2 more replacements left of each, except for dive bombers, because one of them survived. And he's basically out of the game right now. He's just out of the game. There was nothing he could have done about it. Now, unfortunately, autopilot doesn't show you where I'm going, even if I select it, but basically just pulling my fighter over the Texas again, and hoping that fighter squadron dies on the way out, and then I can land the plane again. So but anyways, the recent patch took away manual attacks of any form at tier 4 and 5 for aircraft carriers. Now, what's the biggest problem with this is a tier 5 aircraft carrier to fight tier 6 aircraft carriers. So you basically have carriers that can fight other carriers that have manual attacks, and you don't. So they are able to do strafings against you, and there's literally nothing you can do about that. And of course, if you change matchmaking to accommodate for this, then tier 6 carriers are basically either going to get, tier 6 only, them being, tier 6 is multiple tier 6s, or you have tier 6 carriers which have to deal with fucking Saipans. Because that's fun, right? That's really fun, guys. So yeah. Anyways, I'm just going in to see Wyoming, and I know Wyoming's have fuck all for anti-aircraft, so I'm going in for the dot stack against them, 1 squadron, then the 2nd squadron. And of course, this is shit I can do at this tier because I know how to play the game. I've played enough aircraft carriers to know, and I think I misclicked over there. I think I was trying to select my fighter squadron to tell it to go somewhere, but I screwed up, so unfortunately that attack kind of goes to shit. So I don't get the first one off, but you know, it doesn't really matter. I get the second attack off, and the torpedoes called flooding. That's all I needed to do, and that's the last of the enemy's planes gone. And the Wyoming is heading into the smoke screen, and I don't really want to drop him in it because, first of all, I'm not really there on time, and second of all, well, what can I say? He's inside the smoke screen, and his damacon probably would have been up anyway, so I don't want to take the risk. For all I know, he could be, you know, trying to turn. It's tier 4. I don't think people at this tier really know how to stay inside smoke screens and abuse them. They probably don't even know what they are, considering that the guy never did anything to react to my aircraft. Plus, he's stock hull, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm just gonna sit in my fucking fight. Oh, I think I'm... Yeah, I go in, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. But I also realize that he's stock hull, so I can just sit there and wait for him all fucking game. And I'm basically just parking my fighter on the dick of the enemy's Akatnik, and he can't do fuck. Fun and engaging. Hell, I don't even think this Wyoming has figured out how to press W, so... But anyways, what's happening at tier 4 and 5 is that basically aircraft carriers have their, I guess you could say, point of learning. The point where you actually begin to learn about aircraft carriers move to tier 5 and, well, to tier 6, whereas now it's tier 4 and 5. You get a tier 4 carrier, you get your planes, you know, the Langley gets all 3 squadrons, which is, in my opinion, not really that helpful. But equally, having a 1-1-0 setup on the Langley, unless you manually change replacements so that you, say, have 10 total fighters, then, you know, and the rest, I think, 20 torpedo bombers, and you're fine. You know, then there's nothing wrong about it, because, you know, you don't have an overkill of fighters to the point where, right now, with tier 4 and 5, it's basically just a matter of auto-clicking. And the Svetlana actually realizes my torpedo bombers were here. People like this are kind of annoying, I suppose, because, they don't notice it until it's supposed to be too late. But when they do notice it, I'm like, oh my god, I need a turn. So I guess that's, you know, at lower tiers where the planes are a lot slower, that's actually a workable way to do your torpedo dodging. Of course, sure, you might dodge my torpedoes, you're not dodging the crossfire from Clemson and Wyoming, so you're dead. Just got to me. Anyways, the Akatsuki kind of went away, and Svetlana didn't really torp anything, so sending my fighter back to sit on the Akatsuki's stick, because, hey, fun and engaging, guys. But, so you get a tier 4 carrier now, and, yeah, you've got, no manual drop, so, then again, you can only face tier 5 carriers, and they don't have manual drops either. But here's part of the problem. You can face tier 5 carriers. There's this thing called bogue. There's nothing you can do about it. If a bogue sits on your dick, there's nothing you can do. Whereas now, you can avoid, try to avoid them, and if he makes a mistake, you can maybe get a really, really good strafe off. But that option is completely gone. And now, there is absolutely no way you can deal with a bogue at all. You literally can't do anything. I don't see how this is supposed to be balanced. I don't see how this is supposed to be helpful for new carrier players. What Wargaming defined as an issue is skilled and knowledgeable aircraft carriers going down into tier 4, I guess you can say, like what I'm doing right now, to play aircraft carriers against people that don't know what they're doing, or the new players. Well, this is not going to change. These carrier players, with their air supremacy at tier 4, are going to achieve pretty much the same result against the enemy aircraft carrier, minus, of course, the fact that they can't manual drop, so they're going to do a lot less damage. Shit like what I'm doing here. And here comes the ultimate greed drop, by the way. Shit like that is, of course, going to be a lot more reduced. Because carriers are going to simply not have the damage potential, and they're not going to have the anti-destroyer potential, which is probably one of the biggest things that are important at this tier, in my opinion, killing off destroyers. Because they can be unpredictable, and your team don't know how to deal with them either. So, I guess, for a destroyer point of view, this is fine as well. Well, except that you're promoting people to play destroyers to Seal Club instead. I mean, this Sealclubbing issue is never going to go away, and unless you decide you're going to come along and say, alright, anyone with more than X amount of games is going to get special matchmaking playing only against other people with, over that many games, or, an improved anti-Sealclubbing matchmaking or whatever. And I think that's just completely retarded to do. You're not going to, you're never going to learn to play the game. You're never going to get better at playing the game unless you actually, learn. And that's part of the problem. There's nothing in the game right now to indicate to you how to do a manual drop properly. There's no tutorial. The training rooms are disabled by default. And the co-op battles, again, they don't tell you how to do a manual drop. There's no tutorial that just tells you, and again, another greed drop trying to get 3 against the guy. There is absolutely nothing to indicate that you need to do, press Alt to get a manual drop off. And I basically made him turn straight into the fucking destroyer torp, so rip me. And in my opinion, probably the easiest and best way to just teach players how to play aircraft carriers is literally make a fucking tutorial. It can be basically a co-op tutorial for all I care. That gives you the possibility to try out manual drops. Same goes for people who don't know how to lead. Just make a proving grounds kind of deal with moving targets. If anyone has played War Thunder Ground Forces, you'll know that there's this proving grounds test drive deal where you have moving targets and targets with different, varying armor layouts that you can engage and, shoot at to see, basically how effective is your tank. There is nothing like that in World of Warships. Well, for the sake of it, there's nothing like that in World of Tanks either. And another little bit of a greed drop on the Phoenix, but he kind of fucks himself over, so he manages to take 2 from that drop. But basically the point I'm trying to make is that you're basically shifting learning of aircraft carriers now to tier 6. Because, well, okay, sure, you can Arbiter your way to tier 10, and you can Arbiter a tier 10. For those that don't know who the fuck I'm talking about, it's a tier 10 Hakurio player that plays without air supremacy on the captain. The player plays tier 10 aircraft carriers with automatic cross drops using dive bombers. On Hakurio, by the way, he will also cross drop battleships with dive bombers without air supremacy. Doesn't use fighters, doesn't care about... Who needs fighters? But the player does that. It's pretty freaking amazing, isn't it, to think that people do this at tier 10. People do not know the game enough. Well, I suppose this guy is just... That's just the way the person plays. But you see players like this, and you see players like this do actually surprisingly well. But that guy has never learned proper aircraft carrier play, or rather said, is not learning full extent of the possibilities available for aircraft carrier play. Now, like I said, I'm a lazy fuck, so I'm just going to do it like this, and I'm not even going to edit anything. Post-battle result screens, you can see them right here. It's a tier 4 aircraft carrier. It literally doesn't fucking matter. Who gives a shit? None of these scores matter, so there you go. That's out of the way. So what I really want to say is that this is not going to reduce Sealclubbing. It's moving into tier 6. You're making it easier for players to get into carriers at tier 4 because you're not getting Sealclubbed away. But things like the Texas still exist, things like the youth body still exist, and Texas is the friend referral program reward ship. So there's a lot more of them around than U-bodies, which are obviously a lot harder to drop and have the panic button as well. So you're flying into something that you don't know what's going on, and your planes are just missing, and you can't do anything about it. Not to mention the tier differences. So the biggest issue I have with aircraft carriers is, can we please just get 1 carrier per team max per game? I mean, sure, I will kind of miss, because of the extremely high amount of planes, the kills you could get with 2 carry games, but the RNG side of that is, if your carrier is shit, or the enemy carriers know what they're doing, you're fucked. Had a double CV game at tier 10, I think I was playing, I think we were both Hakurios, Reita and, no. Reita and I were both playing midways, and then I think I had a Haku and he had a Haku, and both of these, the players were all right, and basically I negated Reita, Reita negated me, and the 2 other aircraft carriers on our team were just having fun farming. I don't remember who won, but it doesn't really matter, because what happened was I basically just ended up negating Reita, and Reita basically just ended up negating me, and we were just basically spending the entire game trying to fight against each other. I remember, his team sucked fucking balls, and we killed them off, and my team were actually good. And hey, carriers are OP, guys, clearly. I had no control of not much control of the game, Reita had no control over the game. It was just my team that was better than his, so hey, he got fucked. Ages ago, of course, it was a double CV game, but well, I'll just close off this video and say that one thing. AS Bogue, it just got a lot stronger. Because there's nothing you can do against it now. Unless, of course, you're tier 6, you can just strafe it away. But at tier 5, if you're a tier 5 or 4 carrier and you meet an AS Bogue, go fuck yourself. Best you can do. I'm not kidding. You can just go fuck yourself. But anyways, I guess you can say I tried to avoid ranting, and I got absolutely 0 points across this entire fucking video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, well, you can go fuck yourself too. Play an AS Bogue, whatever, blah blah blah, something something, and I will see you guys in a couple of days. Tomorrow I will upload the last of the OM vs Omni, the third of the finals of the King of the Seas 2 tournament match, and I'll see you guys, well, in the replay cast after that one.